Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Yuri Prochazka, Alex Pereira, the light heavyweight championship is on the line. Not the only championship on the line at UFC 295 Madison Square Garden, but we got some good ones. We were supposed to get Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic. I think we got a better one here, folks. My name is Derick G. Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast, and breaking it down with me, as always, my co-host, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native himself, the man currently in the lead for the head-to-head sweepstakes. AJ, what's up, brother? First thing that I need to ask you right here off the bat. Prochazka, Pereira, right? That ain't Jon Jones, you know what I mean? Stipe Miocic, but arguably, if we're talking about real fandom, hardcores, and all that good stuff, I mean, this is the fight we want, right?
Oh, 100%, man. I was going to touch on that when you opened up with what some people would say a hot content right there. But I agree. You're going against two of the GOATs to do it in the heavyweight division. We could not have asked for a more action-packed fight between Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka, man. We got the Samurai versus the Amazonian. This is going to be a lot of fun, Derick. I'm very excited for this weekend, man. How about you?
The stoked is not even the correct word. I don't have the right wording here because, yeah, it's big fanfare, big names and all that good stuff, but this is a historic moment right here. More than anything, this is an opportunity for two fighters relatively new to the UFC to become two-time champions, just out of nowhere, right? Now, difference is Yuri Prochazka, he never lost his belt, right? Pereira, he lost his, he has to go up. Prochazka has something to prove. A lot of people are writing him off. We're going to talk about it. Tom Aspinall, Sergey Pavlovich, two of the newest real hot shots in the heavyweight division. But AJ, if I got to get some bragging rights or some credit from things that we talked about in the past, tape checks, Tom Aspinall. I've been riding the wave since the beginning. My man finally gets his opportunity. A lot of people, though, like I said, they're going Pavlovich. So we're going to talk about all of that good stuff. But really quickly, AJ, something that I need to bring up, more important than anything else right now, is the thing that we're fighting for here, brother. So let me go ahead and let me just kind of bring this into fruition really quickly. Look at that beautiful belt right there, folks. That is what we are fighting for. You think we're just fighting for pride and ego and all that good stuff. That's the 2023 Bloody Water Podcast head-to-head undisputed championship of the world right there. Now, I would love to walk home with three of them bad boys over here this year, but AJ, 118-71-3 on the year, 114-75-3 for me. Listen, we got a lot at stake right here. There's a lot to be done. There's still some events going on, but just tell the people just a quick sentence or two, man. What are we doing here in these last couple of weeks? What's the stakes? What's the intensity feeling like?
Derick, stakes, intensity, man, they are at a 10. Folks, when he put that on the screen, I almost wanted just to throw everything off the counter behind me because I'm making space, man. That belt's coming home with me, but what it means is that we're providing you wins week in and week out. You can see the percentages down there right below, but don't take that too far into account because week in and week out, we're making you money every single time. And whether you're coming here just for the quick clips, just for the picks, whether you're just going to take your picks and run or actually staying for the information we're providing, either way, man, we're providing you value, getting money in your pocket week in and week out, and we know it feels good. All we do is ask you to make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, share it with a friend, easy enough. Now let's go cash these checks.
I mean, it sounds like a fair deal to me, AJ, if I gotta say so myself. So with that being said, housekeeping is complete. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because after all, this is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. Now let's talk about some picks, AJ. Here we are with some overall bet sheet right here. Now we got some consensus picks. We don't have a ton of them this week, but we do need to talk about it. As always, I told AJ, I already tell people, if you're new here, you only get a couple seconds to pick that thing on out. You better go rewind, screenshot, run to your joint. But the point is, couple of consensus picks. AJ, first one, I'm surprised to see it. Tom Aspinall, and my guy, you rocking with me. We're going to talk about the breakdown of why, but Tom Aspinall is 1. Mackenzie Dern is number 2, and number 3, none other than the God of War, Benoit Saint-Denis. Listen, man, that is a loaded Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks, and I don't want to toot our own horn, AJ, but we were undefeated on our consensus picks last week. One of the fights got canceled, so, technically 3 and like a -1 or whatever, but 3, we got them. Now, a couple of controversial picks. Let's just talk about it really quickly, man. The main event, I like Yuri. You like Pereira. Talk to me.
Woo, this was a hard one to choose, folks, and complete transparency. This one took me down to the wire to actually submit. Be careful where you're betting this weekend because it's going to be a very fun fight.
And then lastly, Diego Lopes, Pat Sabatini, man. Listen, you got two studs right here, two real killers in this division. Reality is, if I'm just going to give my one sentence on this, man, you got to back them Philly boys in the lighter weight classes, because we've already had our debacle at heavyweight, you know what I mean, middleweight and all that. But at 145 pounds, Pat Sabatini, anti-jiu-jitsu style, I'd love to see it. That's my take on that. AJ, any word?
Man, this one right here, folks, if you're sleeping on either of these fighters, they both have the potential to wake you up. Another hard fight to choose. I like Lopes, though.
I heard that. All right, let's talk about some props. Now, AJ, Lupi Godinez points. I'm looking to rack it up for a second win in a row. You're looking to get back in the win column. Mark O'Madsen, the Olympian, with a plus 185 points lock. Now, we have to take a meta moment for 1 second, AJ, and we have to just kind of talk about, I know we're chasing wins here. Let's be completely real. Money line, we got that in the bag. Props, that's a little bit of a different story. So we're chasing victories. I feel like we're playing it slightly conservative this week, but it's still plus money. And if you are hitting out plus money, a win is a win is a win. Is that your approach, or did you just see, no, Madsen lock? Let's get it.
Oh, 100% that the latter, Derek, or the former, I should say, was my approach. I'm taking a little safe right here. Marco Madsen plus money on a decision win. Sounds like good money to me, Derek.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it. Now, the guy he's fighting, Jared Gordon, that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because both of these guys can really pull it out the bag decision fest. Same thing for me, Lupi Godinez, Tabitha Ricci, right? Baby Shark versus Lupi. Like, it's a tough one, and I think that the fanfare and the popularity is going to skew the minds and the pocketbooks of the bettors out there. So let's take advantage where we can. With that being said, folks, let's jump into a main card breakdown. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
This is all anyone has been talking about. Obviously, after, the Jones-Miocic fight fell out, this is what the people are talking about. Yuri Prochazka, Alex Pereira, and it's really coming down to a very classic battle, weirdly, in fanfare of, well, Pereira's going to walk him down and he's going to knock him out. Or, you guys just don't know, Yuri Prochazka, he's a samurai Bushido mindset, he's just a different guy. And it's weird because people are attributing this fight to Amazon energies and Japanese scriptures and all that good stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, man, this is a fist fight, and anything can go down in a fist fight. We've known that, we've seen it time and time again. So let's actually talk about this matchup, man. Alex Pereira, he came off of a lackluster victory against a former champion in the light heavyweight division, Jan Blachowicz. Now, his series of fights with Israel Adesanya and just in middleweight in general was incredibly impressive run. But what everybody has been saying since he's moved up and after the Jan Blachowicz fight is not quite as scary at 205 pounds. Do you agree?
Oh man, nah, I don't agree with that at all, Derek. I mean, is he as scary in a heavier weight class? I think that just goes to comparison. The other guys in there, they're used to seeing more power, they're used to seeing big punches, all this technique coming. But Alex Pereira, all he still needs is one to really do some work. The question is, how is he going to fare against a ground game that any opponent can present? I don't know necessarily if we're going to see that much going into this fight right here. But what I do think he needs to worry about is the chaos and unorthodox style that Yuri Prochazka presents, man. If you're throwing just classic ones and twos down the pipe, Yuri Prochazka is going to duck one and come out of nowhere with a big left hook, and that's right there. Those things that when Pereira is focused in, he's hunting, he's going down the path, but then he catches one just like how Izzy did, where he came out of nowhere, didn't see it. That's what worries me right here for the Prochazka or for the Pereira corner. What about you, Derek? Do you see any kind of flaws right there in that game, or is this just on the exact opposite?
Well, I'm going to go back to that kind of original statement, man. I don't think Pereira is as scary at 205 pounds. And the reason being is because in a pure striking contest, yeah, this dude could take anybody's heads off, right? But the thing is Jan Blachowicz, though he is a former champion, creeping on 40 years old, right? I mean, what happened there? You got out-wrestled by the guy. You guys both... And I think the context behind it is where they fought at elevation, I believe, when they fought. So both dudes were dead tired in round 3. Cardio concerns, just not being able to just one-shot stiff people. That's the stuff that I'm like, okay, we still need to see it. That was one fight at 205. Let's get my man acclimated, then we're going to really see what he can do. Now, is Yuri Prochazka the perfect guy for him to do it against? AJ, this scares me. This is absolutely correct. Yuri likes to fight with his hands down. He'll let himself get punched in the face to create an opening and do something unorthodox. So on one hand, the unorthodox nature of his fight style is incredibly helpful, and it's probably going to throw Pereira off. On the other hand, this could get my man flatlined in 30 seconds. So Given that a lot of people are high on Pereira, look at the odds, minus 125 against the former actual light heavyweight champion. I just think that the part that confuses me is that when we're talking about mixed martial arts and we're talking about the actual well-roundedness of these fighters, you would imagine any scramble that happens, they get to the ground, Prochazka has an immense advantage, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just on paper for sure. I'm giving that edge to Prochazka, but we haven't had to see him utilize specifically just a ground game attack because he's outmatched on the feet. You know, we've seen him get into scrambles, we've seen him do some stuff, and I'm sure he is going to present that trouble to Pereira, but until it's actually proven, until we see how that shoulder's handling, until the X's and O's meet up, I'm not really confident in saying that because at the end of the day, I think Pereira can avoid the takedowns, especially if they're not set up cleanly, if they're just shot out of nowhere, if Prochazka is hurt, if he's wobbly a little bit. I think Pereira has the knowledge, the game plan, the mental fortitude to not just jump in and be a wild man in there, because that's where he starts to lose his rounds, starts to lose his gas tank, and then everything unfolds from right there. So on paper, I'm with you. I give it to Prochazka, but till the end of the day, till we can see what Prochazka can do after his break, after getting to the ground and seeing where it actually unfolds, then I'll feel a little bit more comfortable saying that, Derick.
So, I mean, just curious, like, are we all forgetting that he got taken down and controlled for a round by Israel Adesanya? Like, did we forget that happened?
No, I remember it. Don't get me wrong, Derick. And to your point, Israel Adesanya, not at all the greatest wrestler ever, but he has been working on it consistently. I just don't know if Prochazka has been also taking it to that same effect. Getting the wrestling shoes on, knowing where the game plan is going to take effect. I'm sure his coaches are there. I'm sure he's doing that kind of stuff. But how far along is it to be training in the mind that Prochazka is going to implement that in the game strategy when he's getting beat up in the face, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we saw Dominic Reyes control Prochazka on the ground. We saw the same thing with Glover. We saw literally Glover had top control on Yuri Prochazka. He put himself in a Kimura, swept himself on top to top mount. That's what I'm talking about. It's just weird things Prochazka does as a mixed martial artist that is applicable on the ground or on the feet. Not traditional whatsoever. But it works. And you choked out Glover Teixeira in the 5th round of your fight that you were clearly losing. So the point is, I think more well-rounded, the guy with more chops overall is Yuri Prochazka. I just don't understand where all of this sudden, he was the guy, right? And then Pereira comes around and all of a sudden Yuri is about to get knocked out and he doesn't even stand a chance against Pereira. And I just don't understand because he never lost his belt. He vacated it because he fucking blew his shoulder out. You know what I mean? So yeah, this could be conventional. This could be unconventional, but as a better, right? A lot of people, I'm sure they're betting with a lot of emotion. It feels like that's what the narrative is. Deep down, not in your heart, but in your pocketbook, AJ, realistically, man, how does this fight play out in your opinion? What does it come down to? Is it a skill? Is it an intangible? Is it a cardio thing? Like, what is going to be the X factor behind Prochazka Pereira?
I think it's going to be the X factor of chaos, Derick. When things really start getting going, if Prochazka is, fighting like he normally does, hands down, big winging shots, that crazy movement that he is where he's in and out, if those things come into effect and they confuse Pereira in that chaos, he might be staring, deer in headlights, eyes wide, really, really looking. But if Pereira is able to just stay calm, stay with what he does best, land that big left hook, things are going to work out well. I think it's going to be the chaos and the night of when it really does come down to it, because you match these guys up 10 times. I think it might be a pretty even split. What do you think's the X factor going into this one, Derick?
Man, so you kind of stole it, but you didn't elaborate on it as much. That chaos factor right there, like there's the unorthodox nature of it's a 5-round fight, something crazy happens, someone gets dropped, right? What happens from there? We have not, I'm going to double down on it. We have not seen Alex Pereira maintain that same one-shot snipe that he had at 185. Now is Jan Blachowicz. Dude got a hell of a chin right there, you know what I mean? So it's not the same comparison. But Yuri Prochazka, I think it's pretty clear. We've seen him get knocked out, wake back up, and win a fight. Like we've seen the whole gambit with him. You watch his fighting days overseas, man. This dude is a madman. Lots of first-round finishes for both of these guys. Let's see what happens in rounds 3, 4, 5. That's what I'm interested in. So I think that's what it's going to come down to. And if I'm taking emotion out of it, man, I'm really curious. What do you think about Yuri Prochazka plus 105? Like realistically.
Man, taking emotion out of it, folks, go check the tape because I've been on the Yuri Prochazka hype train since the beginning. So it was hard for me to be able to combat this one mentally, going, where can these things unfold actually? But if this is looking good for Yuri Prochazka, man, I think he starts early, starts fast, and then really surprises Alex Pereira with the speed and the power that he's able to present, as well as the chin and the fortitude where you're not getting hurt, you're not getting stunned, you're the dog in the fight with your toe on the line. line, that right there for Yuri Prochazka will be one of the determining factors if he can actually get this done.
Now, do you see any juice in these props? There's really only two that I'm interested in. One, Alex Paeta plus 100 for the TKO. I mean, I feel like I'd rather just take the minus 125 money line there. What do you think?
No, I would much rather take the minus 125 money line. It's not a safer bet, but it's an easier gamble, if you will. The TKO on Yuri Prochazka, I mean, I don't have the numbers up right now of if Yuri's been knocked out. Do you have those on hand, Derick? Because if he has a couple times, I know it hasn't happened recently, especially not having, like you said, not losing his belt. But I don't know, man, especially going up a weight class. I don't see any juice right there. I'd rather take the 125. What's the other prop you're interested in? Do you got that number?
Well, first, yes, Yuri Prochazka has been knocked out once, and this was back in 2015. So lots of fights, only been finished once. This was in Ryzen, by the way, right? And what was your second question, AJ?
What other prop besides that, that plus 100 TKO? What's other?
Plus 675 submission for Yuri. Now, this dude's not a submission guy, but you were able to get that rear naked choke. I mean, a lot of people can hit a rear naked choke. It's not that hard. You get somebody's back, they're tired. I mean, you'd have to imagine. That's probably what it was for Glover, right? 5th round, you're gassed out, dude. You have no breath. You can't fight that off. You're done. Gets into a crazy scramble. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. That's it, man. Plus 675 seems like a juicy price for that ticket too. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to be able to knock out Paeta. You also have to take into consideration, because I want to kind of close this one out, that Alex Paeta, though he did beat Jan Blachowicz before that, man, he got flatlined. Like, he got flatlined for real. So does that affect the chin? Who knows? But we're going to find out this weekend, UFC 295. AJ, any last words on this one?
Man, if you're betting on this one, folks, I wouldn't lay down too much money because it's going to be such a close fight. I'm still leaning Alex Paeta, and I'm still going with that money line minus 125. What about you, Derick?
Yeah, man, this is one of those fights where I wish I had no stakes in it and I could just watch it and just enjoy it. But that's not what we do on this program at the Bloody Water Podcast. I'm rocking with Yuri Prochazka. Give me that plus 105 all day long. I have no idea how this fight is going to play out, folks. That's why I don't have a prop lock on this fight. But I do love a good underdog. And even at plus 105, I'm going to take the juice all day long. So, Yuri from me, Paeta from my man AJ. May the odds ever be in your favor, good sir. All right, man. From one title fight to another title fight. Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. Heavyweight interim championship. I have to give the context. Though it's an interim championship, AJ, we have to kind of take this into consideration. John Jones, Stipe Miocic, how many fights combined do they have left in the tank? Maybe 1, 2 combined? You know what I mean? This is probably the championship right here, right?
If not the championship right here, folks, this is the championship going forward. These guys are going to be here for a long time. Nonetheless, Tom Aspinall, but also Sergey Pavlovich, man. These guys are the guys that are going to be carrying the load, the boat. They're going to be the ones at the front of the ship, really, separating the waters, if you will. Because, yeah, if I have to guess, John Jones, Stipe Miocic, maybe one fight left. Who knows if we'll see Stipe Miocic back. This guy's been getting the shaft for years now. John Jones, he's a name. He'll probably get at least one more fight. But, I mean, these guys are the guys that are going to be here for the future going forward.
Absolutely. And here's the scary thing about Sergey Pavlovich, man. This dude's been around. He's not new. That's the craziest part. He's not a new fighter, man. He's just a guy he's a Russian who doesn't talk crazy, just knocks people out. And if we're taking a look at it, he made his UFC debut. And I remember, man, because that's the tape you have to go back and watch to really take things into consideration. Got knocked out by Alistair Overeem back in 2018 when he made his debut. And I want to bring that fight back up a little bit later. But aside from that, man, what's been 6 straight first round knockouts since then. So hell of a run right there. But you do have to say, he's fought 5 rounds one time in his career for a championship. He ended up winning that fight. Everything else has been like 1 or 2 rounds. So big question mark on, hey, this is a 5-round championship fight. If you don't start your guy in the first, second round, what happens rounds 3, 4, and 5? But you have to ask the same question for Tom Aspinall, because this dude is in the same exact boat, man. He just starts everybody. So if you look at Tom Aspinall, do we count the Curtis Blades loss, AJ? Yeah, it's a loss. He lost the fight. But you blew your knee out. I mean, do we count it?
You got to count it on paper. I mean, it is what it is. You lost the fight. You weren't able to continue fighting. So therefore, at the end of the day, it's an L. But if we're talking in perception wise, I don't count that one for him. It was a quote unquote fluke. If the Sugar Show is able to be undefeated after the whole Ecuadorian toe incident, yeah, my boy Tom Aspinall, he didn't lose that fight either.
Well, then you're going to put these guys on an even playing field then, because Tom Aspinall then technically would have 2 real losses. And then even then, we're only going to make that 1. The reason why is the last loss before that, it was a John Jones loss. You get DQ'd for an illegal elbow, right? Illegal downward elbow or whatever the case may be. The fight before that, yeah, he got heel hooked, right? So both dudes have an official loss, like a real deal, you lost. And the beauty is, it wasn't any time recently for either of these guys. So we got 2 dudes on an absolute collision course, 2 dudes who really don't know what the taste of loss feels like in a long time, at least. And I think that what this comes down to, man, is it almost comes down to who lands first, AJ. Like, who lands the big one first? This is heavyweight, after all. How much do you think this comes into a factor? Because a lot of people are saying, Tom Aspinall, bro, his jiu-jitsu is so good. He's just going to take Pavlovich down. And I'm like, I mean, while, yes, you have jiu-jitsu, I don't know if Sergey Pavlovich is a guy that you want to risk taking down. Look at Curtis Blades. He ain't really tried to take him down until it was too late. And the moment you get that failed shot, you feel how thick that dude is, and you're like, oh, God, I can't take him down. You got a problem. So for a Sergey Pavlovich right here, who is the talk of the town, how much of a hot commodity is this truly, AJ? Like, legitimately, is this the guy? Does he have the whole package?
Oh, now does he have the whole package? No, Derick. I think the whole package is on that opposite side in Tom Aspinall. I think Tom's the more well-rounded fighter generally. But the thing is, Pavlovich has never needed to display those skills because he's getting those first and second round finishes. This guy can finish the fight in a multitude of ways. The question is, you said it before, is this just one of those fights where all it takes is one, the momentum shifts, and that guy gets the dub? Or what happens? Both these guys, like you said, haven't seen many minutes in the round. I mean, they've seen many minutes, but they haven't had the long duration fights. What happens when that gas tank is empty? You're sitting there breathing. Personally, I think Tom Aspinall is going to have the more fruitful gas tank, if you will. He's going to have more of it in there. But then again, man, Pavlovich, you try taking him down. You're carrying his weight all the time. You're in the clinch. This guy's wearing on you. That gas tank just starts seeping and seeping, man. So that really right there, the unknowns of the later rounds, I'm interested to see how that unfolds. But to that point, Derick, I mean, heavyweight 5th round fight, how much do we enjoy that, you know?
We don't. That's not what we come here for. We come here for 1-2 rounds. Give us 1-2 really good rounds, and then we don't want to see the rest. But I will say, man, I'm kind of going to push back, man. I love me some Tom Aspinall, but I think that Sergey Pavlovich maintains a fight style that requires less energy. Now, Tom, the thing that's beautiful about Tom's fight style, that heavyweight, is he moves like a middleweight. You know what I mean? He's on his toes, bouncy, in and out, bop, bop, out, right? Pavlovich, on the other hand, plants his feet firmly into the ground, puts a high guard up, and says, I'm going to walk you down. What's up? Let's do this. Quick shots, too, from all types of angles you wouldn't expect. So from a pure boxing standpoint, I think that's the thing that scares me about picking Aspinall. I think Sergey Pavlovich clearly holds the advantage there, even though Aspinall's a super sharp boxer. But this is where it gets interesting. So this is my theory. You give me your opinion on my theory here. My theory is that if Tom Aspinall is smart, if he's living up to what he's saying in his pre-fight presser, he says, I'm not going to go and have a dick measuring contest with this guy. We're not going mano-y-mano in this one. Instead, I'm going to play it smart. I'm going to use all my weapons, and I'm going to make this an ugly fight. So my thought process is a victory against Sergey Pavlovich means you're going to almost take a Klitschko style approach. Jab, hug. Jab, hug. 1-2, clinch him up against the fence, try to trip him, get him down. Don't stand in the pocket and let this dude beat you up for, you know what I mean? Whatever, 5-10 minutes, how everybody else does, because that's what it is. Tuivasa, was Tuivasa, right? Went in there, try to have a scrap with him, right? Or no? Yeah, maybe.
For Spivak?
For Pavlovich.
Oh yeah, sorry, excuse me. For Pavlovich, my bad.
Yeah, so either way, all these heavyweights are going in there and they're saying, let's go mano-y-mano Sean Strickland style. Let's just bang it out, right? And it's not working. It's not working against any of these guys. It doesn't matter if it's a Derek Lewis, a Tuivasa, or whoever this guy fights, right? But who have we seen stick and move and stay on the outside and not really play that game and play technical? Have we seen that yet?
In the heavyweight division, stay technical, stay in and out. I mean, the one guy that comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just laughing. That was funny.
Yeah, the only guy that really comes to mind right away is Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Kind of had that movement, but didn't necessarily have the speed. I mean, the only other guy that also comes to mind is John Jones, but going up from light heavyweight, obviously he's going to have that skill. But maintaining that bob and weave, I don't really think we've seen it besides Tom Aspinall, like I said, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. What do you think?
Yeah, so really the point that I was making was Pavlovich, Blades, Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, Shamil Durkheimov, Maurice Green, and then Marcelo Gomes. He's smashed all these guys. None of those guys have tried to play that game that Tom is going to play, in my opinion. That's the point that I was making overall. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Then again, Tom Aspinall, on the other hand, you look at who this man has fought, and it's been what? Tybura, Curtis Blades, Volkov, Spivak, Arlovsky. Neither of these guys have fought the caliber of opponent that they're going to fight on Saturday night. That's where the X's and O's really come in. That's where the mystery comes in. So, gut check right here, man. Minus 105 Pavlovich, minus 115 at open, AJ. If we're taking a look at what the numbers are indicating right now, Aspinall is actually crept up to a minus 120 favorite with a plus 100 comeback for Pavlovich. And my question to you was going to be this. Plus 100, same situation as the last fight, right? This dude has been a marauder. He's been a guy smashing everybody. I know because of my loyalty, I'm picking Tom Aspinall, and because of some other factors. But is this a steal, plus 100, for a guy who's been just starching everybody?
I almost chose Pavlovich for that exact reason, Derek, because a lot of people love the Tom Aspinall hype train. Don't get me wrong, I do too, and it's for a reason. But Pavlovich has this kind of fight style where he just wears you down. He beats you up. He saps that wheel, and he has you looking in the cage like, fuck this. I do not want to fight this guy anymore. And that's really where people start to crumble. And that's one of the good things that Pavlovich presents, is able to stay composed, stay maintained. So, yeah, I think that plus 100 is definitely a steal.
All right, man. This is my last take on this one. If you have anything else to add, please let me know. The pre-fight presser revealed a lot, in my opinion. Tom Aspinall is very candid with his answers, right? He says, and of course, a lot of it's kind of taken out of context, but he's like, Sergey Pavlovich is the scariest guy in the heavyweight division. When I see him, he's big, he's scary. I can't go toe-to-toe with him like that because he'll probably win. I have to be smart. 2 weeks is not a training camp. This is short notice, scariest guy, worst situation possible. Like, words, perception-wise, makes me be like, I don't want to bet on you, bro, because none of this sounds good. And then Pavlovich, on the other hand, yeah, I was training. They called me. Doesn't matter who it is. I'm ready to fight. I think he's really good. We prepared for the best. Now, that could be some of the translation coming from a native Russian speaker, right? Where they're all robots and just fucking, you know what I mean? Klitschko style, Drago style, right? But it could, I don't know. Am I reading too much into this? What was your take on it?
No, I'm right there with you, Derek. I don't think you're reading too much into it. When Tom Aspinall is talking about his game plan, but then also says, I think this guy can win, so I need to do X, Y, and Z because of that. It's never good to have a game plan based on what somebody else is going to do. You need to game plan for what you're going to do and control that fight going forward. So yeah, that right there worries me a lot. And I mean, that's why this fight is so close and so hard to pick. The only reason I'm with Tom Aspinall, I just think he's the more well-rounded fighter. But what happens to that well-roundedness when you're eating a couple lefts and rights down the pipe and this guy is still walking you down and then putting his weight on you and controlling you? It's going to be an interesting one.
Theme of this fight, folks, is there's a lot at stake. There's a lot that you can read into it, and nobody really has a surefire pick. But I'll tell you what, I'm rocking with Tom Aspinall, baby, and new. Let's go. They're going to be the third British champion. Michael Bisping, Leon Edwards, Tom Aspinall. Let's go. AJ, you rocking with my man Aspinall as well. Any last words on this one?
I don't know if I can top it like that, folks. Third champ coming up, Derek. If we need to do a tape check right now. Mark the time, mark the date, folks. We'll go back in history or I guess we'll go forward in history and come back to this point because Derek might have called it. We'll see. I'm still rocking Tom Aspinall.
Let's get it, Tom Aspinall, baby. All right, now we start moving on to some fights with a little less steam on them, but these are some fantastic fights nonetheless. Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern. Andrade, it don't matter. It seems like it doesn't really matter what happens in her career, win or loss. You know she's going to be right there at the top. Doesn't matter if it's strawweight. Doesn't matter if it's flyweight. She's going to get the big ticket opportunities, and people are going to be forced to fight her if they want to move up in that next ranking. Now, Mackenzie Dern, I think she's proved herself time and time again at this point. She doesn't miss weight no more. She's looking sharp. She's not just trying to hunt submissions. She's boxing people up and doing all that good stuff. And then Jessica Andrade, on the other hand, she's been on the skid, and she's looking to get right. Is this a preferable opponent for a get-right spot for Jessica Andrade, moving back down to 115, given the style of losses she's taken recently, which have come a lot from either just getting stiffed outright or getting out-grappled? What do you think?
It's hard to confirm, like fully solidify if Mackenzie Dern is the best opponent going forward for Jessica Andrade, because Jessica Andrade has the power, has the speed, has the jiu-jitsu, has all the intangibles that get things done. But sometimes, like you said, she's on a 30-fight skid right now. So will the mindset be there? Will she be feeling like the top dog that day? And against Mackenzie Dern, who is on that roller coaster, has some wins, has some losses, has some wins, keeps on going up and down in her career trajectory. But the whole point is she's exceeding her expectations as far as the striking goes. We all know Dern is an amazing submission artist, but the thing is her stand-up game has been lacking a little bit, but refining it, getting a little more polished. How is Dern going to deal with the power that Andrade presents, as well as that quick blitz motion? You know, the marauder that Jessica Andrade is, Bate Azteca, she's going to be pressing the pressure forward and really get into this fight. What happens when Mackenzie Dern isn't able to stop that? Or on the other foot, Derek, what happens when Mackenzie Dern sees it, steps to the side, shoots to the hips, gets her down, and then is in full top control? I think Jessica Andrade might present a harder chance to be able to control her on the ground with the power she has and the technique. But do you see it going to the ground, Derek, or are we going to see two girls not be able to take advantage of the mistakes of the other and end up being in a swinging out, bang out fight?
I think that Dern absolutely gets this fight to the ground. Now, does she keep Andrade on the ground? I'm not sure, because here's the thing. Mackenzie Dern, fantastic jiu-jitsu. Striking has definitely leveled up, and she's been able to be so much more aggressive on the feet because she has that ability to be such a high-level grappler. But there's one component that's missing in between those. She's not a great wrestler. That's the key right there. You fight a Erin Blanchfield, she could wrestle. You know what I mean? You fight let me see, who else is Andrade taken a loss to recently? So it was the Yan Xiaonan where she just got knocked out. Tatiana Suarez, wrestler. Yes, bro, let's go. Mackenzie Dern does not have that shot ability, and we saw it. I'm not saying, okay, let me rephrase. I'm not saying she cannot wrestle. I'm saying that at a high level clip, that's not her bread and butter. Her bread and butter is when she pulls you into her guard, or when she sweeps you and she starts going for a heel, going for an elbow, going for a shoulder. That's where things get dangerous. And Jessica Andrade, given that she has the jiu-jitsu chops, the only problem is, AJ, she's now fallen into the category of fighter who doesn't use it. She doesn't use the grappling. It's knockout or bust. So knockout or bust against Mackenzie Dern. Can she be as aggressive as she wants to be? Can she be the Bate Azteca that we're looking for, given you're so worried about the takedown, or you're so worried about getting the fight to the ground somehow, some way?
Can she be? I think so. But will Jessica Andrade care? I think that's the question that's kind of more so on my mind, just because of the style and the mentality that Jessica Andrade presents. She's going to walk in there and try to maintain that fight her own style. I mean, we even saw, was it the Amanda Lemos fight, where she gets the standing submission, right? That wasn't just because it was because the situation presented itself, but it happened because Jessica Andrade had that forward momentum, had that pressure going. Next thing you know, Jessica Andrade is behind your shoulder over there choking you out. So, like, can Jessica Andrade feel comfortable putting that kind of pressure on? Maybe, maybe not. I don't really know right there if she'll feel comfortable, but I know she's going to be going forward like that, because we've never seen her fight in any other style. Never do we see Jessica Andrade just sitting back waiting to read, unless she's actually in danger right there. So I think she's going to open up this fight full pressure, full steam forward. And how does Mackenzie Dern handle after that? That's where the X's and O's really start to get interesting to me, because I agree with you, Derek. I don't know if Mackenzie Dern can keep Jessica Andrade on the ground, and then what happens after that.
AJ, you know I'm a big Andrade fan. You know I'm like a really big Andrade fan. But I don't agree with the assessment, especially in the Lemos fight. She was getting beat up in the Lemos fight on the feet, right? And then when she was able to turn the tide, push the pressure, she got the submission. Now, Amanda Lemos, as we've seen in the last fight that she had, submission specialist, I don't think so. Plus 2,500 submission prop for Andrade, I think, for a reason. You're fighting Mackenzie Dern, dude. You're fighting a real legitimate jiu-jitsu world champion. like a little bit different story right here. So I don't agree with the take there, but I do think that if we see an evolved version of Jessica Andrade, who says that she's been sparring a lot with, I think it could have even been Tatiana Suarez. I'm not sure who she's been sparring with recently. She's been sparring with some really good wrestlers recently, and I think that she's going to try to avoid getting put on the ground, man. But Mackenzie Dern, I just think that momentum is on her side. If she can avoid getting clipped by the big shot that Andrade, she got the major power. If she can avoid it, I think that Mackenzie Dern can get the job done pretty easily here. And it's not something that I'm proud or want to say because this is Jessica Andrade and I want to see her return back to her winning ways. It just seems like not the greatest opponent to do it again. So if she's gonna be victorious, does it have to be the knockout?
Ooh, I think so. Especially with the time frame and the duration. If this goes any longer than that second round, I think Mackenzie Dern really starts to shine right there. Unless she gets beat up on the feet, which can happen. This is another fight where so many things can happen because both of these fighters are so good. I don't have an exact lock on this one. In fact, going back and forth, man, on this pick till I submitted it on Discord, this one's going to be an interesting one.
Plus 165 submission prop for Mackenzie Dern. Jessica Andrade has been submitted in 2 of her last 3 fights, finished in 3 fights straight. Can we see another? We will see, folks. But both of us, Bloody Water Podcast consensus pick. We like Mackenzie Dern in this one. All right. Matt Steamroller Frevola, baby. Let's go. Listen, I've been high on this guy, Matt Frevola, for a long time. But AJ, I almost feel like I'm in an alternate dimension when I see number 14, Matt Frevola, and I see no number next to Benoit Saint-Denis. I almost feel like I'm in a parallel Twilight Zone because Saint-Denis has been on a run, bro. He's been on a run. He is being, I don't want to throw that word out too frivolously. Marauder. We say it all the time. This is a marauder. This is a guy that does that. But he's fighting a guy in Matt Frevola, which a lot of people are saying, light work, easy work. You're going to eat your words if you take that approach because 2 brawlers go at it. Saint-Denis is a little more durable. Frevola, though, he's a sharpshooter, bro. And he catches his shots at angles. Everything is timed perfectly. And if you come in too recklessly, one of these guys are going to bed. So, first question here. Does this fight go the distance? Does this fight go 15 minutes?
I highly doubt it, Derek. I highly doubt it. And that's what I was going to hit on. That precision, that strike that the Steamroller presents, especially against a Marauder who's going to be pushing that pressure, who's going to be looking for the violence. All Matt Frevola needs to do is take one little angle, step off to the side, crack you with the right hand. We've seen that this guy has power in his hands, but on the opposite side, man, Benoit Saint-Denis has that exact same kind of crack. He's able to get you down. He's able to hurt you. He's able to sting you and still look good and technical and fluid while doing it all. Man, this is another one, man, where I'm just excited. I'm getting my popcorn. I'm sitting back. I'm happy to see these two doing it. And it goes to show how deep this 155-pound division is because you got the Steamroller at 14. You got Benoit Saint-Denis not even ranked. This is wild because these dudes are going to be here for a long time. This is going to be a fun fight.
The big difference here, though, man, is while they're both brawlers, I mean, a lot of people, I don't know why this hasn't been bringing into discussion, but we've talked about it before. Saint-Denis, submissions, I mean, 75% of his victories in the UFC, or I'm thinking the UFC, maybe in general. Apologies, I just have that number up. They are by submission, right? So when you're looking at it like that, this dude's not winning by decision. He's knocking people out or he's submitting them. If he goes into that brawl, they're both brawling, slugging it out. Matt Frevola no longer has the opportunity to be a sharpshooter if Saint-Denis says, let me go for the hips, let me take you down, and let me start working my game that way, right?
Oh, 100%, man. And you just go and you look back at the last 4 of Benoit Saint-Denis' dubs. 2 of them knockout, 2 of them for submission. This guy can get it done in a multitude of ways, and that's what worries me for the Frevola bettors right here. Steamroller. There's a reason he is named that because once he gets going down with a little pressure, he's gonna steamroll you. Literally in his name. But when the fighter against him is able to control that just a little bit and have that extra hitch in their game where they're able to either stand up or get this fight to the ground and finish the fight, that's what worries me right there. If Benoit Saint-Denis starts that downhill pressure, Derek, do you think it's completely over for Frevola, or what does he have back to answer to that?
No, I don't think it's over at all. I think Frevola, the thing that a lot of people don't know too, he can wrestle, bro. People don't know that he can wrestle. It's not like this dude is a one-trick pony. Matt Frevola is a very skilled fighter, man. I just think that the one thing that concerns me more than anything is his ability to take a shot. And I don't know if he'll be able to take all the shots Saint-Denis throws his way, and listen, you can't read too much into it, but if you get 1-2 pieced up, one-hitter quitter against Terrence McKinney, literally just a 1-2. It could have been perfect timing, perfect placement, all that good stuff. Weren't quite warmed up. It was the beginning of the fight. But both these dudes fight with a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, and I feel like that's got to take something out of you. So I'm really curious if this fight goes later. I'm not saying the distance, but I'm saying late second round, early third, like what are we going to see then? Because you can't see that Marauder style anymore. You can't maintain that. It's just not realistic. So my opinion on this one, man, is you have 2 brawlers. but one is a little more of an educated brawler. I would say that's Matt Frevola. The other one is a brawler with more tools in his tool belt. I would say that's Saint-Denis. And I'm going to go with the guy with more tools in the tool belt because no matter how intelligent, how clever you are, when they take away your opportunity to use your weapons, I mean, you're kind of at a loss there. So I'm going to rock with Benoit Saint-Denis. I like the minus 240, bro. I don't have a real lock on if this is going to be a knockout, a submission, whatever the case may be. But I will say I'm going to bet. I don't know what the over and under is. I'd have to look that one up, right? But I'm definitely going to bet that the under on whatever it is. Let's take it. You know what I mean? What do you see into that? I'll look it up while you're talking.
I would take the under as well, Derek, because especially the way Benoit Saint-Denis fights. I mean, his only loss in his last 5 was from decision. I believe it was against Eliza Zaleski. Yup. And so when that starts getting going, I think this fight has to go or it has to get finished early. Maybe not early, but round and a half. That's why I'm taking the under if it is there as well. Against the steamroller, though, man, when the chips are down, there's very few men that I would guarantee are betting on themselves, and that one of them is steamroller Matt Frevola. This is going to be a fun one, man. I don't have a lock for the prop because I do think it's getting finished either TKO or submission, but still, enjoy. Sit back, folks. If you're putting some money on it, good luck. But either way, enjoy this fight. It's going to be a blast.
1.5 rounds is the over and under, AJ. So let me just give you the odds on that one. If you taking the under, it's minus 145 for the under. The odds makers like it. Plus 115 for the over, which that kind of entices me. I'm like, who's to say? I mean, I don't know. But you heard the man, AJ. Bloody Water Podcast consensus pick, Benoit Saint-Denis, but do not sleep on the steamroller, Matt Frevola. And to round us out, folks, Diego Lopes versus Pat Sabatini. Folks, this is such a high-level fight right here. I need you guys to understand that before we even talk about this, because Diego Lopes, 1-1 in the UFC, right? First fight, you were a plus 600 underdog. You almost beat the minus 900 favorite Movsar Evlo Webb. You get your next fight, you put in some massive work. You got a Pat Sabatini, praise from Philadelphia, a guy who's got a ton of hype, had a very, very ugly loss. Who was it? Damon Jackson that got him out of there? Right? Yeah, you had an ugly loss at 145. Took a lot of your hype away, and I think people still don't quite understand just how skilled Pat Sabatini is, man. He's one of my favorite 145ers right now, and I do think that with a little more experience, a couple more fights under his belt, he's going to be making some real problems. But AJ, I feel the same exact way for Diego Lopes, bro. It's just two completely different styles. So let's talk about it, man. What do you like about Diego Lopes in this matchup against Pat Sabatini?
Obviously his jiu-jitsu, Derek. I mean, that's what they've been talking about this guy for a long time. He's a jiu-jitsu coach. He has skills. We've seen him perform them very, very well. But what I also like about him is that sleeper aspect. Nobody's, some people might be looking at this dude as an absolute killer, but for the most part, people look at him, they see the 2000s white boy band haircut going on. And you're just he doesn't present that threat. He's a smiling guy. He looks happy, but this dude is an absolute killer, has the skills to get it done. But you want to talk about somebody with grit, Derek. You want to talk about Pat Sabatini. This dude has seen it. It's maybe not seen it all, done it all, but right there next to the boys that have. Pat Sabatini presents quite the problem. What about in the stand-up game, Derek? Because obviously both these dudes can swing, but I do think Diego Lopes is a little faltered in that aspect. He's behind the 8 ball, if you will, against Pat Sabatini. But do you think Pat Sabatini can put a clinic on the feet, or does this need to be that kind of washing machine, crazy kind of style of fight?
This is the problem, man. While I agree with your assessment, I think that Sabatini is a more technical fighter through and through. I think Diego Lopes holds an element of surprise that's going to really trick my man up a little bit. You know what I mean? Because Lopes, you see him on the feet. He can be so wild and reckless on the feet because if you get him to the ground, you're in a world of problems, man. I don't even care if it's Sabatini getting him to the ground. You're going to be in trouble until the round ends or until the fight ends. So you have to play it so smart. But the wildness, man, that's the unpredictability right there, bro. Who's to say he doesn't take the same Mackenzie Dern approach, who has a very similar wild, reckless style. It's not super sharp, right? You throw that big lunging overhand right, you trip the ankle, you get down, and then you start working your jiu-jitsu. Who's to say? But the thing is that makes it complicated, man. While Sabatini is more technical, he can do the same exact thing, except he's not going to try to play jiu-jitsu with you. He's going to try to smother you, shut down your jiu-jitsu, play an anti-jiu-jitsu game, and probably round the fight out either one of two ways. I would imagine it's going to be a ground and pound TKO or round the fight out until you get a decision. Because AJ, how aggressive do you try to pass someone's guard when it's Diego Lopes and a triangle is going to pop up at any second and omoplata is going to pop up, a Kimura sweep, whatever? Like how reckless can you afford to be if you're Pat Sabatini here?
On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 2, and that's if you're feeling ballsy. You see everything completely presented to you because Diego Lopes like that can flip that switch. Next thing you know, like you said, Derek, you got hips around your head, you're choking out, you got an arm underneath your chin. Something's happening to you where you did not see it coming, and that's that sleeper aspect I'm talking about in Diego Lopes. He has that. Not necessarily quick draw, but he has that quick switch to whenever he does see an opportunity, he's taking it. That's what I like most about him. I'm just curious how this fight actually goes in the in-between, not necessarily where they're starting, because I give that one to Pat Sabatini. Even on the ground, that one's a harder guess to see who's actually going to be more dominant. But what happens in that mix-up, in that scramble, in that chaos, maybe even in the clinch too, when elbows are flying, knees are going, what happens in that middle ground, that really I think is going to determine the fight. And that's why I'm excited for this one. That's why I think this one's opening up the main card, because it's going to be so much unpredictability, and if there is chaos, it's going to be a lot of fun, but still going to be very technical on how the outcome ends.
And what does it mean to you that plus 325 Diego Lopes for a submission is more value in terms of just overall money that you're going to get back in a return than Pat Sabatini plus 265 for the submission? Like, when you look at these odds, do you think that maybe they should be backwards almost?
Almost, Derek. I wonder if that's just because people are still sleeping on Diego Lopes. But yeah, I mean, you can't fully commit to that because Pat Sabatini is an absolute savage anywhere he wants to take the fight, even on the ground, like you're saying, man. So I can see where the odds makers do that. I would have put it a little closer to, just both plus 200, both plus 250, whatever the case is, because Diego Lopes is very skilled on the ground and very dangerous. I'm interested to see why they did that, Derek. Do you think it's should be flipped?
I think that the submission should definitely be flipped right here. I just think it's going to be hard for Sabatini to take a smothering, control-oriented, arm triangle type approach against the Diego Lopes. I mean, it could happen because he's so reckless and so wild, but then it can't because he's so reckless and so wild. So with that being said, man, another tough one to call right here. I would say of all the cards that we've had over the last 10, 20 cards, this is probably the closest in terms of just like overall competitive matchups, not minus 500, minus 700 favorites, things of that nature. So I like Pat Sabatini, really like that minus 125 at open. If we're looking at current odds right now, he has actually decreased to a minus 115 with a minus 105 coming back for Diego Lopes. So AJ, this is essentially a coin flip. Now, this is one of our contested picks, right? You like Diego Lopes. I like Pat Sabatini in this one. And I'll tell you, if I have to have an X factor, I'm going to say you might not agree with me, but check my track record. Me and AJ, we got some good accuracy ratings right here for the money line. So clearly we have an idea of what we're talking about. I'm going to say this. Don't discount those at a lighter weight class Philadelphia boys, man. They don't play. That Philly grit is a little bit different. But you also, man, the Brazilian who is training with all the Mexicans over there, you can't discount Lopes neither. So, AJ, give your last words on this one.
It's two savages getting locked in a ring. Man, I am excited to see it, folks. And like Derek said, check the track records. There's a reason we're split on this one because it's going to be a very competitive fight. I like Diego Lopes, and I'm taking that plus 325 submission. I think it's his best route to get it done. Which round it happens in, we'll see. That's the one I'm going with, though.
Hey, happy hunting, folks. Listen, whoever you tailing, may the odds be in your favor. Now, we hit the main card. That's UFC 295 in a nutshell, but we're not done here. Now we need to move on to the most coveted, the most lucrative aspect of this entire program, and that's highlighting the unknowns of today and the stars of tomorrow. Let's talk about some sleepers. Let's get it.
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, AJ, we got some really, really fun sleepers here, and I actually want to do it a little bit different. Normally, I pop open the Tapology page, and then I say, hey, let's, talk about it, right? Instead, we're bringing up the UFC page here, AJ, and I want to talk about my first sleeper right here. Let me open it up for the boys. We got a Joshua Van versus a Kevin Borjas. Now, it's going to be a little hard to see because we got boxes and stuff on the screen, so apologies there. That's not even the point. You don't even need to see this. You just need to listen to us right now because I'm going to solo myself out, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't know about Josh Van, Kevin Borjas, you're talking about a banger in the 125-pound weight class, and I'm a little upset because I had this locked down. This was my sleeper. I was going to come hype you guys all up about it, and then Dana White says, let me put it on my if you don't know, now you know. Well, I guess the cat's out the bag, but this is is fight of the night right here. This is like the third fight on the card, folks. So just for a little context right there. Joshua Van, this is a dude who's going to get in your face. He's going to try to knock you out, and he's going to go toe-to-toe the entire time. Kevin Borjas is the same exact situation right here and really earned a shot on the Dana White Contender Series in a really back-and-forth bloody affair. But the real point here is that if somebody holds an edge here, and why this is going to be a competitive, not just a pure slobber knocker, but a mixed martial arts fight, a competitive one, is that Kevin Borjas and getting taken down are things that are, pretty common right here. My man is going to fall down to the takedown. He's going to get back up. He's going to try to beat your face in. So when you see violence, when you see two fighters with two combined losses and like about 20 combined fights overall, and they're young in their UFC career, this is where stars are born right here. These are where the guys that you're going to be talking about, this is where they make their impressions felt. I'm really big on Josh Van. I want to see what Borjas can present, but 125 pounds, I think someone's getting knocked out, but hard to get, fight of the night when someone gets knocked out. So either knockout or fight of the night, I think you'll win either way. Now, AJ, that's my sleeper. It might be hard to top, brother, but you got a banger in store, man, so you need to talk about it. Go ahead, tell the people.
It will be hard to top, but I got one that might just do it for you folks. That pick that Derick had, that is the true definition of a sleeper. These guys are going to be around for a while. And if you look at my fight, folks, I got Mateusz Rambecki versus Roosevelt Roberts. The names, if you're a hardcore, if you're a diehard, the names sound familiar. We've seen Roosevelt Roberts get it done all consistently, but also faltered at the end of his career. So then he had a resurgence on the Dana White Contender Series, or excuse me, not the Dana White Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter in the last season. But then, man, you got the powerhouse, man. I don't know Rebecca's actual nickname, but this dude hits hard, has power in every single shot, and leg kicks on leg kicks on leg kicks. This dude's going to do some crazy damage to you if you allow him. And the kind of fight style that Rambecki presents is violence, and that's why I like him for this fight. But if you want to go and test that kind of game plan against a real one that is Roosevelt Roberts, bro, you are in for a hell of a night, and you're in for a hell of a medical bill, because Roosevelt Roberts is one of the ones that'll stiff you anytime, any chance he gets. He might even pull the Jorge Masvidal and put on the skinny mask and go get you in the back, but he can get it done in the ring too, and that's what makes me most excited for this fight. This one's pure violence. If Roosevelt Roberts now has his chance to get back into the UFC, or he has his chance, he isn't back in the UFC, but if he can solidify himself in where he used to be, it's going to be through violence, and Rambecki is the fighter to get it done against, because he's also going to be looking for that exact same thing. That's why this is a sleeper for me, folks. Don't blink on it, because either way, if Derick's fight doesn't get fight of the night, this one might just be knockout of the night for either of the guys, but it's going to be a fun one either way. Tune in for it.
Bro, a lot of people are saying Rambecki first round knockout, but I'll tell you, even though, listen, man, he's a massive favorite. I think actually, looking at it, he's like a minus 800 favorite. It's something ridiculous. Roosevelt Roberts was one of my favorites before he got let go from the promotion. So you got a hungry dog, with a chip on his shoulder. You never count those guys out. All right, AJ, that was the sleepers. Now, of course, we have to hit the kind of final part of the program here, and we just need to talk about the Prelim Pourover. Now, we mentioned this in the last show. Want to do it a little bit differently. Instead of breaking down every single fight, AJ, we don't have time to do that, right? We're at the end of the program right here. We literally only have a couple more minutes. I want to just highlight a couple good ones that you see some value in. I think there's a very obvious one right here, AJ. Tabitha Ricci, Lupi Godinez. This is going to be a very, very fun fight. Now, I already said this was my prop lock. Lupi Godinez, decision victory. My real question to you more than anything else here is that we're coming to the point where over the last couple of years, we've seen the people who are new to the UFC, new to the promotion, and we saw people on a trajectory, right? A collision course, again. And we say, man, is this the right time? AJ, I think this is the right time. I think this is legitimately the right time for these two to fight. Both of them were in the LFA. Now they're in the UFC. I mean, similar records, 9-1, 11-3. I mean, bro, this is the winner of this fight going to be the new cash cow to say, you know what I mean, for the UFC in the women's strawweight division, given that both of them have big personalities, a lot of fanfare, all that good stuff. What do you think?
100%, Derick. These are the girls that are going to be not necessarily fighting for the top position, but they're going to be the ones that are in the media. Whoever wins this fight will be boosted high, and I also think the loser of this fight will also still get a boost forward, especially if this is a very fun fight. I don't even have one I'm leaning. If you know me, folks, go check the tapes. I'm a huge Baby Shark fan. Tabitha Ricci all day long, but go check the tapes again, because we've been calling for Lupi Godinez's shot for so long, man. This girl's got the hands to get it done. Very fun fighter. Man, I'm just excited. Again, just sit back and watch, because this is going to be a great fight in the women's division, man.
That's it. And then when we're talking about, when we're talking about Diego Lopes, her teammate, Alessandra Costa, her teammate, we need to talk about that fight. So it's the fight right above it, right? Steve Erceg versus Alessandro Costa, man. Now, Steve Erceg, a ranked dude, right, came in, took a dude's ranking, and didn't even get the ranking he deserved, which is honestly a true shame. But he fights Alessandro Costa, man, a true knockout artist, a dude who will take somebody's head off. So you got a technical fighter versus a dude who comes for pure violence. What do you think about the fight?
Man, I'm glad you brought this one up, Derek, because if you didn't, I was going to say we need to, man. Steve Erceg, Astro Boy, very technical, can get it done. Alessandro Costa, no, like you said, he's going there to put you to sleep. Ooh, the thing is, if Costa just overextends just a little bit, the submission skills of Erceg can come out to play. I'm excited for this one. I was going to say I might be leaning Erceg, but you can never doubt the power of Costa. I don't even know who I'm leaning, man. What about you? Who are you leaning for this one?
You know what, man? I was having a heavy lean on Erceg, but I'm going to back Costa on this one. I made the pick. I'm going to back Costa on this one, man. Something about that power. It's got to be perfect for 15 minutes. Can he be perfect? We'll find out. All right, man. One more that I want to talk about here, and that is Nazim Sadikov versus Slavoklas, Vyacheslav Borshev. Now, we've seen Borshev has definitely struggled when it comes down to avoiding these takedowns, keeping the fight where his bread and butter is, which is on the feet, man, standing. Can he keep this one standing against Sadikov, man? Because the odds makers don't think that he can.
I don't think so either, Derek, to be completely honest with you, man. That's why I'm excited we're on the same page for the fights we want to talk about on the prelims, because that was a big question right here. You get Slavoklas looking good on the feet. He's piecing you up. He's dancing a little bit. He's having his mojo going. He's looking good. But you put him on his back, this dude's a fish out of water. He's scared, or not scared. I shouldn't say scared. He has that look of fear of, oh, shit, what the hell am I going to do? What is this guy doing? I don't even know how to present it. And, man, you go up against Sadikov, man. This dude, if you're not to a T, picture perfect, he's going to find those holes. He's going to exploit them, especially in his last five, man. This dude gets it done in KOs all day long. Submissions against T-Rex, like, man, it's hard to bet against him. I'm going Sadikov on this one, but don't get me wrong, folks. Borshev can get this done as well in a very pretty way too. This might be a performance of the night if it gets done for Borshev.
It's going to be a fun fight, bro. I can't wait for Saturday. Let's go. Couple more sleeps, man. We almost there. But, folks, we are out of time. So, that is your prelims. We made it to another outro. UFC 295. Folks, next week, we got a banger event. It's going to be Paul Craig, the Bear Jew versus Brendan Allen, bro. I can't even think about that. We got two big fights going on right now. But, again, really quickly, AJ, before we hop up out of here, let's just remind the people one more time what we're fighting for. That's what we're fighting for right there, folks. The 2023 Undisputed Bloody Water Podcast Championship of the world. That's right. Top flight security of the world, Craig. Let's go, AJ. I didn't even know that I could single it out like that. Here, let me take it out. That was beautiful, though. Listen, man, this is the point that we got to make right here. We're winning you guys some money. We're winning pride and ego for ourselves. But more importantly, I want to be triple champ. I'm trying to join the ranks of my man, Henry Cejudo. You feel me? And my man, AJ, is just saying, hey, listen, if I could, I'm going to go in there with the Scully on and I'm going to take all them belts. I know my man is ready to go. So, with that being said, folks, that's it for us. AJ, close us out of here.
Woo, folks. Derek, what else can I say? Because Derek said it all. You need to hit that subscribe button. You need to share it with your friends. And not only because we're over here fighting for our pride, but we're putting money in your pockets each week, man, week in and week out. If you're tuning into the fights, you need to tune into the Bloody Water Podcast. And if you got friends that are watching, be a good friend. Go share it with them so that way they know who to come to get some money in their pockets. Everybody, what do they say? When rising tides go on, all the ships float, or whatever that saying is. Either way, when the bloody water starts rising, you get money in your pockets. And that's what we're here for, folks. It's going to be a fun one. Make sure you tune in. And as well as you can see all the links down below, go hit us on all the other socials. We're building stuff up over there. My channel's on lock, man. We got videos coming out. But more importantly, you got to hit us on the other ones so that way we can hit a massive growth of people coming in and make you look good, make those pockets book filled up. It's going to be a fun one, folks. Let's get to it.
That's it for us, folks. Until next time, catch us for the post show on Monday. Peace.